welcome to Starcastic Remarks. My name is Ryan Chambers, alongside my brothers, James and Chris. I don't know why I said brother. I'm tired, guys. Okay. This is the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. We appreciate you guys listening. Go and use that promo code THPN next time you go and use the DraftKings app. We appreciate them being our sponsor. How you guys doing tonight? Y'all doing okay?
Fantastic. Really good Wednesday. I had my last official class of the semester, so that was great. I'm very happy. Happy to be done.
You sound very happy to be done.
Yes, I don't like it.
I was being slightly sarcastic there. You just sound like exhausted.
Yes, exhausted is the correct answer.
James, how you feeling?
Doing pretty good. I'm a little congested, been getting over a cold for the past couple of days, but other than that, perfectly fine.
Weak sauce.
Weak sauce. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we have got a lot to talk about here tonight. Obviously, the big news of what happened yesterday, which we're going to get off right off the bat, but there's a ton of other things to talk about. I'm not going to go through the whole shebang and ruin the surprises along the way.
Surprise episode.
We're going to call an audible here. Normally, we wait for Dallas Stars stuff towards the end because that's really what we want to talk about. But Chris asked if we could go ahead and just start talking about the Roope Hintz extension that was announced. Roope Hintz got an 8-year extension worth $8.45 million per season. First thing I saw when I saw the Twitter post is, oh, what an overpayment. And I was thinking those are obviously, one, not Stars fans, two, don't watch the team and know how important he is to the success of this team. What was y'all's initial reaction to this?
That's weird. I didn't see that at all in any of the posts I looked at. A lot of people were talking about just how smart of a signing it is. And I totally agree with that. I mean, Hintz is an older guy than Robertson or Ottinger were, who both got bridges. So he gets the big deal like Heiskanen does, who's already a sure thing. And Hintz, I feel like, is a sure thing as well. I mean, we see the offensive side that he has, and that definitely gets hot and cold. But the thing that he always produces with is he's one of the best two-way first-line centermen in the league. I mean, his defensive prowess goes noticed by every single team we play against. It's talked about by everyone who ever talks about Roope Hintz, is how great he is offensively and how much he helps defensively as well. He's just a perfect number one center, and lock him down for 8 years at that price when the cap is going to jump soon here too is fantastic. That gives us lots of room to make moves even next offseason. Like as early as next offseason, we can add a big piece to what is already a good roster. So I'm very excited.
I'm super excited about it. Super excited about it too. I think a lot of people were like worrying about all cap space and stuff, but we have a lot of contracts coming up at the end of next year, so it frees up all that space, and likely we're going to fill those with our prospects that are coming up right now.
Exactly. So. And that's why I'm saying we have room to sign somebody, because we got those ELCs coming up. We know we already have one winger coming in. I mean, automatically. So it's just so exciting. And what I want to talk about with y'all is, what the heck is Neil doing? I mean, he's had great signings recently, no doubt about that. But they are nothing alike. I mean, Robertson waits until the week of the season starting, and now Roope's is done barely into the season at all. I mean, is there a method to this? Or is he just doing it between golf trips? I mean, I really don't understand what's going on.
I really think what it is, it's just experience, Chris. And I think each situation is different. Like with Jason Robertson, I think he wanted to wait for an extension because he wasn't sure how the next season was going to go. And he was betting on himself so that he could make more money later. Because if he had signed a contract, before training camp, I don't know, the beginning of last season, then the money he would have made would have been much less, and maybe for a longer term. So not in his benefit. So I think what he and his agent decided to do is say, okay, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to let the GM know that we're not going to negotiate a contract right now. We're going to wait till the end of the season. And I'm going to bet that I'm going to make as big an impact as I did, last season. So yeah. I think that's really what it was, to be totally honest with you, Chris. And I think with Roope Hintz, I think that they were just both ready to kind of let's just get it over and done with. And I think it was just two totally different situations, two totally different players. And I think he just knows when to bite the bullet and when is the best time to talk to each agent, each player, and say, hey, here's where I'm at. This is what I think we should do.
Yeah,
And especially in Robertson's case, he got a steal. At least right now he did.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think with Roope, we're a little bit more sure about what we're getting than we were with Robertson. I mean, Robertson was still he played a year and a half, and he played a great year and a half, but still, you need to prove that a little bit longer. But Roope Hintz has been doing this for 3 years now. I mean, we gave him that bridge deal, and he did it perfectly. But even then, I still like this is still a little bit of a steal. I think he's given the Stars a little bit of a break, trying to help us build a team that can help him win. I think that's definitely true, and it's good to see our top centermen want that to happen.
Yeah, and it still signs him till he's 34. So we're taking him basically to the end of what's generally considered to be when you're good. So we're taking. I mean, it's the same with the Ben and Sagan contract. We're taking a little bit of risk with the mid 30s there, but overall, I think it's a great contract both ways. Honestly.
Yeah, even then, most of the time, I believe when you get just because you're starting to get into your 30s, it doesn't mean you're starting to get bad. I think it's really when you're in your 35 is when that decline starts happening. Yeah. But yeah, and this is also a smaller contract than the Ben and Sagan one in regard to how much cap space it's taking, and just I mean he's a $9 million player at least. I mean he could easily have made 9.5. I feel like, but
agreed.
Yeah, so I'm really shocked by the amount of money that he's taken, and I believe it's a pay cut because he wants to stay in Dallas.
Here's another little talking point, and Brooke mentioned this over here in the comment section over here. Saad's article referencing Saad Yousuf of The Athletic stated that his contract was actually based off of Miro's contract, and that Miro signing has been so big, and she's right about that. So what are your thoughts about the fact that he structured his contract? I say he, maybe it was Nil, maybe it was Roope, I don't know. What do you think about that fact that they structured the contract based off of Miro Heiskanen, who I would argue probably should be making more than Roope Hintz, and yet they're both making the same amount?
Miro's underpaid too. I think this is just saying it's solidifying the new core, like we were saying. I mean, so does the Robertson and the Ottinger signing too, but obviously those are shorter term because they're so new to the league. But it's saying y'all are the core guys. This is going to be it. And I feel like it might have been more of a pay cut for Hintz because he wanted to be on the same level as Miro. To I don't know. There's some solidarity in that y'all are both the leaders of the team. Y'all are both getting paid the most theoretically because Ben Sagan's contracts are not real, but. Like that's leadership. That's the core. This is the future of the team, and that kind of symbolizes it to me.
James, what did you think? Did you have any particular thoughts about that?
Not really, honestly.
He agrees
that's
with
right.
me.
He agrees with you like always.
Oh yeah, I agree with Chris. There we go.
And Ryan is an idiot.
Well, Ryan didn't say anything, so
yeah, I didn't say anything. I guess that's true. So I'm tired too, guys. But anyways, to get you the actual like specific details, I went on Cap Friendly, and it's very much front loaded, especially the first 3 years of this new contract. So he has a base salary of $7.5 million next year, and it's a signing bonus of $4 million. So for those of you that don't understand how contracts are structured, they may be making different money each year, but the cap hit throughout the entirety of the contract stays the same. So technically, like this year, I think it's Sagan, he makes a little less than $10 million against the cap, when in all reality, this year, he's actually making $13 million or somewhere around there. So when Roope Hintz starts with his new contract next season, he will actually be making $11.5 million compared to the cap, which it will actually be 8.4. So, and here's the one thing I wanted to talk about, and it's fair to talk about. I hate to talk about it but there's data there, there's facts there. The one thing that I'm a little, I don't want to say upset about, but a little skeptical about is a no movement clause. And we all know that Jim Nill loves his movement clauses, even with like players like Radek Faksa, for example. The difference between Faksa and Hintz is the fact that Hintz does get hurt. He has yet to play what you would consider a full season, I guess you could say. Is that something to be worried about? Because the only year he does not have a no movement clause out of those 8 years is the very first year. So next year, every year from 2024, 2025 to 2030, 2031, he has a no movement clause.
Yeah, I don't think that's something to be worried about. None of the injuries he's had, they're not like a Sagan hip surgery where he has to relearn how to skate. So it's not something that'll stifle his ability to score goals. So he might be a little bit more susceptible to injury, but this team is banking on him. I mean, you got to take a risk at some point, and this is a risk that obviously we're willing to take with Roope Hintz as one of our best players. So sure, he'll miss 10 games a season maybe, and we can maybe just expect that. Miss 10 games a season. I think that's still a great contract at 8.5. So I think that's totally worth it.
And in line
James,
with his
sorry, go ahead.
in
James,
line
sorry.
with his no movement clause with it, I don't think that's going to make that big of a difference, because if he's hurt, no one's probably going to trade for him anyway. So
yeah.
It's not
sure exactly how the no movement clause would impact it that much, but yeah, we're banging on him not getting hurt is a big thing. And if he is hurt for a long period of time, then he's going on LTIR and we get the cap space back. So
yeah,
I don't think the no movement clause changes that either. The only way we would ever trade him is if he was dropping off a substantial amount. And if he's dropped off a substantial amount, no one would trade for him anyway. So I don't think it's a big deal. When you're signing big contracts like that, it's hard to move those contracts anyway. So no movement clause helps the player, helps us. And honestly, if we're going to be a place that people say that they can come to and like settle down here and like have that knowledge that they are going to be taken care of by this organization and that this is going to be a place that they can stay for a long time, that's a good reputation to have, in my opinion, especially for some of the guys like Kane, Taves, maybe, who are getting older, might be looking for a place to settle down. I'll take that.
See, I still don't know how I feel about it. Like right now, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but that's just, I don't know. That's just how I feel right now. But I still am slightly worried about the fact that he does get hurt. But at the same time, when he's here, he always produces. So even if he only plays, 65 or 60 games out of a 82 game season, he's still going to make an impact on this team, and it's still going to be in the positive for the most part, especially for the next 3 years. The way that contract is structured, they believe that especially the next 3 years are going to be his best 3 years.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I think this is a slam dunk contract. I think Nill's done it again. I think he's had 3-4 straight great contracts in a row. So we'll see what I'm saying in year 5, though.
I think most of your concern, Ryan, comes from the Ben and Sagan contracts, how there are no move clauses. We literally can't do anything with them. So your concern is warranted, but also it's kind of unlucky that both Ben and Sagan got hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, that's not normal. And also, this is a much smaller portion of the cap. I mean, when Ben and Sagan signed their contracts, that was a much larger percentage of the cap space. So we're signing our number one center for theoretically way, way less than we signed Ben and Sagan when we did. So I think it's a really good deal.
Anything else on that?
Yay.
I know you sound super sarcastic when you say that, but we genuinely are excited about this contract and the fact that it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
right?
Totally out of nowhere.
There was nothing about this, no rumor, no nothing.
It reminds us of what we talked about in the offseason about how excited we are for the future of this team and how good of a job Nill did moving from one core to another core so seamlessly. I mean, this is the new Dallas Stars, and it's playing right now at the same time as the old Dallas Stars. So it's super exciting. Really good to see. Fantastic job by Jim Nill. You can call him out for some contracts, but you have to give him credit for this. It's fantastic.
And the other thing about this, I kind of want to bring this in because this is something I talked with Sod about before the beginning of the season, kind of in the off season, about Dallas as a market is different than most markets. Like, if you have a team that's bad consistently, it's going to hurt the economics of the team. It's going to hurt the profit that they're going to make. They have to be consistently good throughout the duration of the years. I mean, they can't just be sucky for the whole time. And we saw that when the Stars went bankrupt. And then for a number of years, they were one of the bottom dwellers when it comes to spending money against the cap. And it showed with the profits that they made. They didn't make as much money. So in order for this team to be successful, not on the ice, but like as a business, this is the way they have to do things. They have to be consistently good. And if that means, maybe not being a top 5 team every single year, then that's the sacrifice that they've decided to make.
And remember, that's what we brought Nil in for too. I mean, when we got him, he was from Detroit, who had made the playoffs like over 20 times in a row.
Years, yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly what he's done. That's exactly what he's hired to do. And you're right. For this franchise, we can't do what like Tampa has done or what Florida has done. It almost got Florida and Tampa. I mean, you can't be bad for 5 years and expect your fans to stay. I mean, I'll say it about Dallas. Most Dallas fans are fair weather fans. You'll show up to a game if they're playing good. I'm a fair weather Cowboys fan. I'll say it. I'll show up when they're playing good, but I'm not going to stick it out if it's a bad time. So that's the way Dallas sports kind of is. So in a small market like hockey, in a small market where it's hot in Texas and you're playing a game of ice hockey from Canada, you're going to need to stay good, and you're going to have to make the building exciting to keep tickets flowing. And that's still the main revenue for the NHL. So you're definitely true there, Ryan. We need that to we need that to be good, and that's different from other teams. Other teams can suck and then be good. We have to stay good.
And I think a lot of that has to deal with Jim Nill, like you said, Chris, because it not only is he able to manage the cap as well as he has, but he's also been able to hire the right people in the scouting department to find those hidden gems. Because the 2 guys we literally just paid, Jason Robertson and obviously Roope Hintz as the most recent, both of those guys are second-round picks. Now, yes, they're second-round picks. Second-round picks, generally are more successful in the NHL than like 6th or 7th round picks, right? But still, there's a lot of second-round picks that don't pan out in the NHL. And the fact that he was able to find a number 1 center who is one of the best 2-way forwards in the NHL, and I'm don't feel like I'm going out on a limb when I say that. And you're finding an elite talent in Jason Robertson, who is leading the league in goals and tied Connor McDavid in points before McDavid went on like a 3-game point thing and whatever.
No, he got 3 points in one night.
Yeah, 3 points in one. Sorry, that's what I meant. I'm tired, guys. I'm sorry. But you get the point, right? He's able to find those gems, and the reason why the Stars are successful is because of that man. And I know that we rag on him for some of the contracts that he's made. You could rag on him for Martin Havlat, Ryan Suter, Gary Hudler from many, many years ago. But you still can't look at the negative and ignore the positive.
And the homegrown talent is a recent thing too. I mean, if you think about it, the first 8 years of Jim Nill, it was big trades that he was known for. I mean, the Sagan trade to bring him in, Himsky and the better guy who I can't remember his name for some reason. Who was the other guy in that trade, please? Spezza. Thank you. Spezza, the Sharp trade. I mean, that's what it was. Those big trades were why we like Jim Nill, and he couldn't draft to save his life, and he knew that, and he fixed it, and he got better scouts, and his drafting recently has been fantastic. And this new built team is because of how good he's done drafting and how good our player development has been, and we're reaping the rewards of it now and in the next 10 years.
James, any thoughts? We're just kind of talking over here, and you're just kind of hanging out. Sorry.
I like hanging out. It's fun.
All right. I think we hammered that to death, but that was a good topic, guys. Good job about that.
Always fun to talk about GM stuff.
Yeah, it always is. said no, almost no one ever. But I wanted to talk about this because we mentioned it very briefly, Chris, in one of the AGRs that you and I did. And I really want to talk about the Robertson goal in the Winnipeg game that tied the game. And I think we need to talk about this because I think it's fair to talk about, because not only did it affect the Stars in a positive way, like we reaped the benefits of it, but it also hurt us back in the playoffs in 2019. And should the play have been blown dead on that Connor Hellebuck goal? Not what does the rule book say, but in your opinion, and I want both of you to kind of give me your opinion, should that have been blown dead or not, and why? It's kind of hard.
First. I mean,
okay, go ahead, James.
From a player safety position, yes, absolutely. So from that position, yes, but also then you get in trouble with, oh well, now the goalie's gonna shake their masks off. Now we're gonna have all these random stops that and then we're gonna have another one where it's like, oh, the puck was right there and his mask fell off, but it wasn't even in the same spot. There's so much gray area in the entire sphere of when we talk about when a goalie loses his mask.
I wouldn't even say it's gray area. I feel like the amount of unintended consequences that are going to occur if a rule change like that happens is going to be everything that we hate about every other sport. I mean, we like hockey because these players are rough, physical, and insane. These players are nuts. They're playing a sport where they're wearing ice shoes, skating, going 30 miles an hour, and shooting frozen pieces of rubber at each other. That's insane. If you change the rule to where we stop the play if there is a mask off, or the next step of this is if a player is injured on a play, immediately blown dead, that's definitely the next logical step of this. There's going to be people who are going to abuse that rule. That's how sports work. I mean, go watch the World Cup. They're flopping all over the place. It's not going to be that bad immediately, obviously. That's a hyperbole. But when there's rules in a sport, if you're not abusing the rules, then you're not trying very hard. So at some point, the rule will be abused, and that's what I don't like about other sports, because every other sport that happens, rules like that get abused. In hockey, that doesn't happen because we have the rule of you play on until there's a chance of stopping, or if the player needs obvious immediate medical attention. Hellebuck got his mask knocked off, and he laid on the ice to sell the fact that he got hit. I'm not happy with either solution is my problem. I'm not happy with either solution. He needs to be protected. Yes, absolutely. But even in that play, he obviously sold it a little bit more because he was laying still on the ice. Like he just got bulldozed. He got back up and continued to play the game and did not even go into concussion protocol. It was obviously not as bad as he was making it seem. So there's not a good balance there. I haven't heard a good solution is my answer. I don't think there's a good solution.
See, and you made a really good argument there, Chris, because I was kind of leaning with James, but at the same time, I understand your argument as well. And the only thing I can think of to say is I'm just glad I don't have to make that decision. I think it will be changed. I think it will be changed just because of the attention that this particular incident got. Because, everybody was talking about this incident. Everybody. All podcasts, all sorts of sports anchors, reporters, whatever. And even Razor and Heika talked about it on Podman Rush. I don't know if you got to listen to the episode that got released yesterday, but they were talking about it too. And I agreed with them, to be totally honest. They thought it wasn't going to count. They thought it wasn't going to count, and they were very surprised that it did count. I was not surprised it counted because of the rule, and I remembered that play in 2019. That's why I was not surprised. I think it does need to be changed, though. And I know I'm flip-flopping back and forth, but I'm still leaning towards the fact that it needs to be changed because that could have been really, 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 really dangerous. And just like we were screaming up in arms when the Blues took I think it was like a 2-goal lead at that point, and the goal counted, And it was even more duration of time in that particular game in 2019 against the Blues than this particular play against Winnipeg was.
A lot more.
I think it needs to be changed. So that's just me.
I mean, that's fine, but you have to know that that's going to progress further. I mean, it's not going to stop at we're just going to blow it dead when the mask comes off. It's going to go to, okay, when a player's injured on the whole opposite side of the ice and there's a scoring chance going the other way, we're going to blow it dead. I mean, that's the logical next step of this. And I'm honestly not okay with that, because even with the Star situation, Bishop got up and was okay. I mean, it hurt him, obviously, but he was selling it a little bit too there. So that's not the hockey I want to watch. So that's just me.
I think the best argument I've heard so far about it is make it to where the play is blown dead instantly. Try to find a way to make it to where goalies can't shake off their masks as easily. And if they do it intentionally, it's instantly a penalty, and really clamp down that it's a penalty. It's just, it is just so hard to change in general, though.
That's the problem. How can you, it's so hard to say that it's a penalty, though. Like, to say you intentionally shook your mask off and know it wasn't coming off anyway.
And it's bringing subjection into it. Yeah,
that's such a subjective
exactly right.
thing to call. And I mean, and if that happens to you, if the Stars player had to shake off his mask or it got knocked off and they said he shook it off and they call a penalty on us, I'm going to lose my mind.
Right now, the rule is already suggestive, though. I mean, they say if there's immediate or an impending scoring chance, we're already there. That's already most of the rules in the NHL.
Yeah. And yeah, that's fair that we should bring up. Sometimes when a player is hurt and there's a scoring chance going the other way, they do blow it dead and the skater gets up and he's fine. So it does happen sometimes still too. I just think if you make the rule saying that play stops with the mask, it's going to bend the needle a little bit more towards that direction, and we're going to stop play more often and more easily. And that's going to lead to more people acting hurt and staying down when they're normally would have gotten up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and bring this up too, because there's Ardell and Eshadlow are talking about it over in the comments on YouTube, but they're saying that if they change the rule, which I think they're going to do, then they need to make chin straps mandatory. Because right now, the way that goalie masks are made, they fall off very easily. And maybe that's, designed on purpose. I don't know. But all they've really got is like 4 little clips that go around the back, and it kind of suction cups I almost said helmet. Sorry, Razor. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to Podman Rush and you'll understand that reference. The mask to the head. Okay, that's all that's there. There's nothing underneath that keeps that mask on the goalie's head. So, but he's saying, Razor was even mentioning that he doesn't think that chin straps should be a thing. So that if they are going to do that, there has to be a change in the goalie equipment to make it harder for the helmet to fall off. If they're going to change the rule the way that I think they're going to.
Well, then are we gonna make sure that refs are enforcing that goalies are wearing their helmets correctly and are like peeking under their mask to make sure that their chin strap is on? I mean,
that's something that you can check pre-game before they even get on the ice for warm-ups.
Okay, yeah, pre-game, check it. Dude yanks it off. I mean, I don't think an equipment change is really the way to do it unless you're totally redesigning the mask. I mean, the mask is a catcher's mask. It's a baseball catcher's mask meant to be taken off quickly. It's the exact same design. And they take their mask off every time play stops immediately. Like, if you're going to say that should be the rule, make it like a football helmet where it's so annoying to take off, you just leave it on when you're getting your water. So it has to be something substantial if you're going to change the rule like that. I don't think this needs to be a small, okay, we're just going to change, blow the whistle whenever the mask comes off, because that's going to lead to so much grossness, in my opinion. So if they're going to change it, it needs to be a big change.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking more that they're not going to change it, because
I agree.
Because there's just so much. Once that changes, they're gonna start have to change more and more, and they don't want to do that. They've already expressed to people how hard it would be to rewrite the whole rule book. I don't see it happening.
So prediction, they don't change the rule from both of you?
I think
Probably
nothing's going to happen unless there's several more situations like this, but I don't think there's going to be another situation like this for the rest of the year. So
It
Maybe
just
another 3
it
years, and then we'll talk about it again in 3 years.
exactly.
I mean, the I think the main reason why this one was blown out of proportion so much was because it was the last seconds of the game and because the Stars tied it.
Yeah.
That was the only reasons. Because this has happened many other times before and has gotten little or no attention. So,
And it was a Canadian team.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
That's
one of the
true.
best
But
goalies in the league.
it was a small market Canadian team, though. It is Winnipeg, so they don't.
Yeah, I mean,
get,
this has
run.
already happened this year. Someone's mask fell off and he got back up and tried to save it. Like this has already happened this year and no one talked about that.
And I didn't hear
So,
much
whatever.
attention come to the Ben Bishop issue when it happened in the playoffs.
None
There was
happened.
no talk about it. So, yeah. There's some market bias.
All right. Anything else?
No. Don't mess up hockey.
No.
No soccer hockey.
No soccer
soccer
hockey. It's our new
Random
hashtag.
thought. Did you see how many times the puck was kicked on Monday night's game? Like how often they were kicking the puck around the ice? Did y'all realize that, or maybe that was
they
just
use
me
their
because
feet
the
a
World
lot
Cup was,
in this sport, Ryan.
like it felt like it was more than often. Maybe it's just me because I was watching.
That
the
was
World
just
Cup.
you.
It was just me. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about this. I'm kind of jumping around, guys. I'm not following our outline at all, so sorry. Robertson. We need to talk about Robertson because he is the best player in the NHL, and I wrote a blog post about it. Go and check it out on StarcastRemarks.com. Agree? Disagree? What?
Yeah, he obviously is. I mean, the NHL released some posts earlier about like if the Hart Trophy vote was now, who'd it be? And they had Robertson at 4th, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, that's terrible. I mean, they're saying Connor McDavid was first. Connor McDavid is not first. Robertson is so much of a better defender than McDavid is, and Robertson has carried this team through November. I mean, we haven't talked about it because the majority of what we have had has been good this month, but lots of players are not scoring right now. And the only two players that are really scoring are Robertson and Ben. And right now, Robertson is carrying the Stars to continue to be atop of the division, kind of. Not by points percentage, but Robertson is obviously the most valuable player, especially to the Stars team. When we scored those final 2 goals against the Jets, he was on there for like just as long as Heiskanen was. And they were talking about Heiskanen's been on for 4 straight minutes. Robertson was on for like 3 of those 4 minutes. So the dude is crazy. I mean, he is the Dallas Stars. So if that's not an MVP, I don't know what is.
I mean, after every single AJR this season, it's felt like we just talk about Robertson for 20 minutes.
Well, he deserves it,
Yes.
right? He absolutely deserves to be talked about. And
it's more just that he really does have that much impact that we are talking about him that much after we watched the game. We watched the game and we're just like, yeah, our Robertson just skated everywhere and scored a few times.
the guy is just ridiculous. And the thing that kind of put me over the top, which because I had sort of kind of talked about, maybe Robertson is in that the top of that second tier of really good players. He's not quite at that first tier right now with like the McDavids, the Sidney Crosbys, the Ovechkins, the Makars, those players. What really put it over for me was the play that he made that put us up 3-1 in the game on Monday. I mean, it was 100% an elite play. Elite players do that. And when I looked back, he didn't just do it once. He's been doing it consistently for the entire duration, not just of November, but of the entire season so far. When we have needed a goal to tie games, when we have been really rough the past week, we've had 2 overtime losses. We don't get a point in either one of those games if Jason Robertson is not on the ice.
Yeah, and
like,
that
hands down.
That play from Monday, I totally agree. As like so far this season, that's like his Heisman moment. Like it shows you why he's not just the goal leader in the league, but why he should be the MVP because he's in his own zone defending when the Blues have a chance of coming back in the game when they really shouldn't. And he makes a great defensive play, recognizes that he can go. He goes, beats the defender, and has a sick shot that he's just developed this year, by the way. The dude's getting better. His shot is so much better this year than it was last year. He's developing a one-timer, and he's learning deflections now too. I mean, what the heck? So it just shows why he's important on both ends of the ice. His perfect defense and his amazing offensive skill changed the flow of that game. I mean, it was flowing in the Blues' direction, and boom, gone. Game over.
And just when I was thinking about that, watching that play, I was thinking this is exactly what McDavid does for Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton is nowhere near as relevant as they are right now if they don't have, you could point to Draisaitl as well, but especially McDavid. He's the one that he can just do it himself. Just like we talked about Jamie Benn when Jamie Benn was in the prime of his career. We called it beast mode. He would go beast mode Jamie Benn, and he would just say, this puck is going into the back of your net, and I don't care what you do. You could do whatever you want, but that puck is going in the back of the net because we need a goal right now, and I'm Jamie Benn. That's what Jason Robertson
is doing. It's the same feeling, but it's better than McDavid because of his defensive ability and the defensive ability of our first line in general. I mean, our first line players are playing on the penalty kill because they're that good on defense. Like, so McDavid's not playing on the penalty kill. Dude can't do it. He's not an elite defender. He's not going to win a Selke. Jason Robertson, Roope Hintz, if they're having an off year, they might win the Selke. I mean, otherwise they're going to go ahead and win the Art Ross. So they're just fantastic in all facets of the game. Not like McDavid. He's fantastic everywhere, not just with his stick handling speed.
Yeah, McDavid is definitely just the best overall offensive player. There's no doubt about that. But Robertson right now is definitely the more well-rounded player in the league.
He's the best hockey player.
Could you give some credit to Bonus?
No. He's been stifled. Bones is gone. He's an Art Ross contender. Coincidence? I think not.
I think not. Yeah, I knew it. We were all thinking the same thing. And by the way, let's just be honest. No one's winning the Selke until Bergeron is out of the league. Let's just be honest about that. He's got it. It's his trophy until Robertson has to have an insane season.
If Roope Hintz scores a few more goals, he's got to be in the conversation.
Yep. And, this is fair too. Ardell saying over here, Robertson has better supporting cast than McDavid does. And that's fair. That's true.
Yeah, but this season, he hasn't needed it.
I guess it's fair.
Last season, yes, totally fair. That's totally fair because that was that whole line scoring. They all just outscored their entire team. This year, Robertson has looked better than his linemen mates.
And that's the difference between the two players, too, is McDavid doesn't need anybody and probably doesn't want anybody, really, to play with him. He doesn't want them to be set up. He wants to do it himself. He wants to skate, and he wants to stick handle. Where Robertson wants to make those small but smart passes that first line does. That is why they're so good. Just those passes in the zone.
And also how many times on that line is the last pass to him? I would say almost never.
Yeah.
Normally he is the first or second one to pass it there, and then he just goes to the net for the rebound. I mean, he's not normally the one that's the person to get set up.
Mm-hmm.
To argue with Ardell there, I would honestly say, we mentioned it. The best two players, the only people that have really been scoring for the Stars lately are Benn and Robertson. So you could honestly say that we're not really getting a lot of goal support right now from anybody not named, Benn or Robertson. So that's you could make that. I could see somebody making that argument and saying that he is just as important as McDavid in that aspect, but that's just me right now. Anything else, you guys, or do we need to move on?
No, we need to move on. Talk about Robertson too much. People are getting bored.
Okay, so it's kind of hard to do this. We're gonna go ahead and do this, but I thought it would be really interesting to go through the teams and look at the playoff matchups that would be right now. Now, it's kind of hard to do that because some teams have played more games than others. Like the Stars have played 3 more games than the Avalanche and 2 more than Winnipeg. So currently we're first, although by points percentage, we would be second because Winnipeg would be first. But we're just going to do it based off of what are the points right now and what would the playoff matchups kind of look like. And we'll pick winners. We don't have to get like super like, oh, well, I think that, the Flames are going to win 4 or whatever. I don't know. But looking at the standings and looking at the Central Division, but we'll skip over Dallas's thing for now. We'll save that for last. But it would be Winnipeg versus Colorado in a Central Division matchup. Who do you think wins in that particular matchup if it goes to a 7-game series?
Colorado. Winnipeg is fake. They'll be fighting for a wild card spot by the end of the season.
Oh, fighting words. Jeez. James, what do you think?
If they were playing as the teams are playing right now, I would say Winnipeg.
Yeah. Wait, how are we doing this? Are we saying are they playing right now or?
Yeah, let's do it by how they're playing right now. That's fair.
I'm still going to say Colorado.
Hellebuyck's going to carry it. No, Hellebuyck's going to carry it.
Playing good.
Oh.
Yeah, James is right.
On fire, Hellebuyck wins the entire thing.
That was a good point. Hellebuyck's playing too good.
Although we had a really good goalie in the Calgary series, the Stars did, and it was under bonus, and it didn't do us any good.
Well, the rest of the team sucked.
That's it's a big point.
All right. Let's look at the Pacific Division real quick. So right now, as it is standing, 5 teams from the Pacific would actually make the playoffs, which that's something I did not see coming at all. Because the Central Division has actually been pretty much trash so far this season. So Minnesota, Nashville, and St. Louis would all miss the playoffs according to this model and the way that the standings are right now. So looking at this, Vegas would actually get the lesser opponent. So it would be Vegas and the Calgary Flames. That would be a really interesting series for me. Who do you think would win in that one?
Vegas,
because goalie again. I mean,
yeah.
What the heck?
Markstrom has not been good this year. It's ridiculous. He's supposed to be this great goaltender, and everything that he did last year seems to have just disappeared.
Yeah, and for some reason, I was exactly right about Thompson. He's been fantastic. I mean, 2.44 goals against on the season, and .921 save percentage. The dude is nuts.
And we'll see how he's able to deal with the full NHL season, because I'm sure that might affect him a lot. But as of right now, Vegas 100%.
I don't think there's any chance that Vegas stays where they are. I think they'll end up number 3 at the end of the year. No way Thompson is this good all year long.
That would be amazing.
That would be outstanding.
Who would beat Vegas? Who do you think would beat Vegas? Who would be the number 1, number 2?
I think Edmonton and Calgary are going to be number 1 and number 2.
Really?
So even though they've been struggling as much as they have, you think they'll figure it out?
Yes, I think so.
I think the Kings probably end up number 1, honestly.
Ooh.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and just do it based off of recent play, okay? The LA Kings have been okay, but they just recently, I don't know if y'all saw, but they just recently waived Cal Peterson, their goalie of the future. So he has not been good, and he's never taken that mantra away from Jonathan Quick. And Jonathan Quick has been iffy, but Peterson has been worse than that. When you look at Edmonton, their backup goalie is their starting goalie right now. Jack Campbell is making $5 million, and for the most part is sitting on the bench behind Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner has been the better goalie so far this year. I don't think he figures it out. I don't. At Calgary, you mentioned, and we're just talking about goaltending here. I'm not talking about all the other factors. And I mean, that's always the first factor I look at. Calgary, just like y'all mentioned, Markstrom is not doing well, and you could argue in some cases their backup goalie, Dan Vladar, is playing better than him. Yes, exactly. Words are hard. I'm going to go out on a limb, and this is a bold call. Seattle is going to get first in the division.
Huh. No.
That
Not a
the way the division looks right now, it looks very wide open. So It really just if one of Edmonton or Calgary gets back their mojo at all, that they're topping the division, not a doubt in my mind.
What are you
Not
seeing?
if they keep playing like this.
What are you seeing from Seattle that you think is sustainable? They just won a game 9-8 in overtime. This is not sustainable.
Why didn't we talk about that game?
I know, yeah. I was going to mention that right after this because we should talk about it. But the way that they're playing has been surprising, and they figured it out. And who would have thought that it would have been Martin Jones in their goaltending? He has been, other than the 9-8 game yesterday, which I think it tanked his save percentage. It's like, I think he's like below 900 now because of that save percentage. But before that, Seattle has been playing really well, and they're playing the modern style of trap hockey, which is the way that Bones is doing it. And it's boring hockey, but they're doing it really well. And
they're not playing boring hockey. That is wrong. The game before last night, 5-4. Game before that, 4-2. Game before that, guess what? They scored 8 goals again. I mean, this is lucky. This is lucky.
I disagree with you there. I think that the way they're playing is more sustainable than what they're asking some of the other goalies to do and looking at some of the players on some of these other teams. I mean, we've seen McDavid at times can take the team and carry it on his back, but I don't think he's able to do it this year. I just don't see it. And same thing with Calgary. They changed everything. Huberdeau is not doing well. He's not adjusting well. This is his first year. That's to be expected with a new team when he's been with the Florida Panthers for so long. I just don't see any other team able to do it. And Vegas, as good as Logan Thompson has been, I think he's able to keep it for a certain period of time. But y'all both admitted that you don't think that he's going to be able to keep this going through the whole season.
Okay, but neither is Seattle's goalie, who I have no idea what his name is.
Martin Jones.
He's
not even doing good. I mean, he had a good start to the season, it looks like, but recently it's already fallen off, and they're just somehow outscoring their problems, and they're not doing it as good as Florida can do it. So,
speaking of teams that are sucking it up, Florida's even worse right now.
I don't see anything sustainable about this team. I think they're good enough to get in a wild card spot, like I said at the beginning of the season, and I think this streak that they're on is really going to help them do that. But they're due for some trouble soon. They're going to have a losing record in the next 10 games. Is my hot take for this.
James, you looked like you were about to say something.
He agrees with me.
Of course he does.
What Chris says is fair to an extent because they've been playing not great teams. I mean, they played Vegas and the Kings, they just seem neither team is playing good that night. The Vegas game has been their best game in the last 5 games. It was a 4-2 win. They really are right now. It feels like they're playing the worst teams and they're just scoring a lot. So to an extent, Chris's argument is very fair, but I mean, it's still, I mean, both the Central and the Pacific right now, they look like anything could happen.
They look like Nashville, complete trash. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how that would go with the Pacific Division. We got to wrap this up real quick because we're getting over. But the 2-3 matchup in the Pacific would actually be Seattle and Los Angeles. Who would win that series?
Right now,
the
Seattle.
Kings.
Ooh, the Kings. No.
The Kings have way more depth and they have a lot more experience. So, without a doubt in my mind, the Kings win that series.
And that's very fair because, I mean, 2 players, Drew Doughty, Anze Kopitar, right there. I mean, guys who have won the Cup twice. And they have all the experience to back it up. Yeah, they're older, but they have a lot of young guys that can kind of take a little bit of that responsibility away from them, and they're able to give that experience to those young guys. So I think that's fair.
And it's proven in last year, they took Edmonton to 7 games, which they had no business in doing.
They did not. Yeah,
especially with how good Edmonton was playing in the playoffs.
James is going to change my mind again. I'm taking the Kings.
Let's go.
And what's funny is they didn't have Drew Doughty in that series, James.
Yeah.
They didn't have him. So go figure. All right, and let's just keep it to the Western Conference for tonight because it's already getting kind of late. So let's just look at Dallas' series. It would be Dallas and Edmonton. That's like the worst thing we probably could have.
Not
Goalie. It would
really.
be Dallas
We're
and
good against
Edmonton.
Edmonton. We're good against
Yeah, but
Edmonton. We don't lose
No,
against
wouldn't it be
them.
Dallas and Calgary because we're the second
It wouldn't be
first
Dallas
team?
and Calgary. Ryan's dumb. Ryan doesn't
What
know
a
how this thing works.
foolish man. It'd be Dallas and Calgary, and Dallas would win because our goalie's better than theirs once again.
No, it would be Vegas. It would be Vegas and Calgary because Vegas has the better record, so they get the lesser team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're-
Chris, you're stupid.
So
It'd be
yeah,
Dallas
so
and Edmonton. And we'd still win
So-
because we have the better goalie.
that's true. Either way, I agree with that 100%. But still, it's Connor McDavid, and Connor McDavid does
but
things in the playoffs, which is
We
insane.
also have the best defense to. Whoa. I'm getting a lot of
Echo.
feedback. Oh, okay. It's gone.
There we go.
Either way, we definitely have the defense to lock down McDavid and Draisaitl, or at least one of them every other night, which we have shown every time we played them, and we have a great record against them. And I mean, Miro Heiskanen alone can shut one of them down. So that's an easy series, in my opinion.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's do our Who Cares segment for the evening. All right, so we decided this months ago because we knew that the Spotify Wrapped or the Apple Music Wrapped stuff was going to be coming out, this week. We automatically knew it. So we're going to reveal to you, or you can just choose however you want to do it. Because again, who cares? You can do what you want. We're going to reveal to you our top 3 artists from our own Wrapped series thing. You can use Apple Music, guys. You can use Spotify. I don't care.
But if you use Apple Music, you're wrong.
Thank you.
Y'all are both wrong. I'm going to use Apple Music.
I'm using Apple
I get it
Music
free
too,
from.
don't worry.
I get it free from Zach. Okay, I don't
I
pay.
also get it free from Zach.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine having to pay for your music.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I pay for quality. Ryan, number 3.
My number 3, and I think you would be a little bit surprised about what my number 3 would be.
Is it
But
Bach?
huh?
Is it Bach?
Say that again.
Bach?
Sorry, I love how you're doing that. No, my number 3 is it's kind of weird. It's actually the How to Train Your Dragon 2 soundtrack. So it's John
No,
Powell.
that's fair. That's
Believe it or
totally
not.
fair.
My number 3 is John Powell. That's the name of the composer who wrote the music for that.
That dude's
I
amazing.
literally listen to the entire soundtrack probably about once a week, sometimes twice a week. It is one of the most underrated movie soundtracks of all time.
Agreed.
So John Powell is my number 3 technically.
This is going to be a very different Who Cares segment. We all have very similar tastes in music. Sorry, there's not going to be as much argument.
Uh-oh.
Good number 3. Good job, Ryan. James, number 3.
You might argue on mine actually, so you might get some. Right now, my number 3 is One Republic. I like a lot of their stuff, and right now I'm just kind of rediscovering their stuff. I kind of haven't listened to it for a couple of years. Going back and listening to them, and it's a lot of good stuff in there.
Nostalgia. I'm not going to argue with that. That's fine. My number 3 is a weird one. Unless you listen to electronic music, it's The Fat Rat.
Oh my goodness, I love that dude.
Yeah, so
he released a new song on Friday.
Oh, for real? I haven't seen
For real,
that.
for
I'm gonna
real.
check that out. So The Fat Rat, he does a bunch of EDM stuff. It's more thumpy than it is bright, and that's the way I like it. If you like electronic music, go for him. A lot more lyrics in his songs than most electronic stuff. So be warned. Ryan, number 2.
And there's going to be a lot of foreshadowing here in a second with electronic music. But anyway, my number 2, and I'm going to get a lot of crap for this because everybody hates this band. And, they're always making fun of it. Look at this graph. It's Nickelback. Nickelback is my number 2. I know.
No, there's some good Nickelback, but for him to be your number 2... That's criminal. You should only be listening to 3 Nickelback songs max.
There's a lot more good songs than just 3.
Look at this graph. All right, James, number 2.
That is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
You're interrupting James. James, number 2.
Thank you, Chris. My number 2 is Owl City, actually. So I like Owl City.
James,
I listen to all of his stuff all the time. He's my most consistently listened to artist of all time. I mean, yeah, I just like all of his stuff. More people talk about it, I'm sure.
All right.
Chris, your number 2.
My number 2 is also going to be a shock. Post Malone, the Dallas native. I have started listening to some Posty, and boy, do I like my boy Posty. He has some great songs. I mean, his voice is just beautiful. Have y'all heard him sing country? He is a great country singer. He should sing country.
Really?
Y'all look it up. Seriously, I don't remember exactly what song it was, but it's a song I really like. Look up Post Malone country. It is great. That's not the songs I'm listening to. I'm listening to his basic stuff. I'm a basic boy. So, Post Malone.
Now, I will admit, I do like Post Malone's sound, just in general. I like his sound. I like his music.
He's fantastic. All right. Fantastic. Ryan, number 1.
And to absolutely nobody's surprise in our family, my number 1 is Owl City. I love Owl City. And if you don't know who Owl City is, they're the ones behind the song Fireflies. It went like quintuple platinum. That song did, like, gosh, it must have been 12 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say 2010.
It's more than that.
It was 2010.
More than that.
Really?
It's longer back even, yeah.
I thought it was 2010.
Pretty sure it's longer back.
I'll have to look up the release date here in a second. But I just appreciate him as a person, and he's weird, he's quirky, his music completely follows who he is. It's weird. And if you don't know who Owl City is, here's some song titles, okay? Strawberry Avalanche. Okay. Sunburn. He has a song called Sunburn. That's kind of strange. And then he also has a song called Fireflies. And that's like, who names a song Fireflies to begin with? But there are so many other songs that are completely weird.
The best name of a song is the one you missed. It's called Dental Care. Oh, I'm going to skip you, James, real quick. Mine is also Owl City is number 1. I hadn't listened to him in probably 5 years, and I started listening to him again this year, and I kind of just played 3 songs on repeat from him, but I obviously played them too much because he's my number 1 again. But yeah, I love Owl City. His sound is great. The lyrics feel really honest. He's one of the best, like his songs are like poems, and they're just super well thought out lyrics, I feel like, which is different from most modern music, but whatever. I like it. James, give us your number 1.
All right. My number 1 is JKVE right now. If you don't know who that is, that's the person that wrote the "This Is What Falling in Love Feels Like" thing. You know? Have you heard him?
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it's the TikTok thing.
Okay. TikTok.
Yeah, the TikTok thing.
No, but that's wrong. Sorry.
But he released his first album a while back, and I like a lot of his stuff in it. It's more, there's a lot of bass in it, and I don't know. I like the words in it. I enjoy listening to his stuff.
I'll have to listen to it. Yeah. All right.
I only listen to like 5 of the songs total, but I like every single one of them a ton. So
hit us up in y'all Spotify Wrapped, especially there's a podcast section. So if we're number 1, please let us know about it and tag us. That would make us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Thank you.
It would make our day. It's amazing the fact that we have so many people listening to this podcast anyways. Like, who would care what a trio of boys from Texas, care about the Dallas Stars and like what they talk about and stuff. But we do appreciate y'all so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, what he said.
So I actually looked it up. Owl City's Firefly song was released in 2009. Chris, you were 9 years old when that was released.
1 year off. I was probably 8, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So, by the way, he does have a new album coming out, and it's going to be awesome and amazing. I'm really excited for that. It's coming out really soon. It's so weird, some of the posts that he's putting out on Instagram and stuff like that. It's very, I can't think of the right word right now. Yeah, I'm really confused. So, anyways, guys, anything else we need to mention tonight?
We need to play better. We're realistically 5-5, but we have 3 overtime losses. So this next week needs to be big. We got a big homestand. It's got to be a lot of wins. We need some help for Robo and Benny.
James?
Oh, I'm supposed to say something right now?
You can just agree with me again.
Yes, I agree with Chris, and Ryan's opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
All right, and I do have one personal note I want to tell all of you guys, and we appreciate y'all so much. I just want to let y'all know what's going on personally. For those of you that don't know, and you probably don't know because I haven't talked about it a ton, but my wife Amanda is pregnant, and she is very close to giving birth. So originally, the due date was going to be December 23rd, and we were just going to have the baby born just a week early just to make it easier as a transition for me. But she got diagnosed with something, and there could be complications. It's nothing serious, but there could be complications. So now that date has actually been moved up to this Sunday, actually. So if you're a prayer person out there, I would really appreciate your prayers on Amanda's behalf and on my own behalf. Help me not go insane. Just keep the health of the baby and my wife in your prayers as well. And to be totally honest with you guys as well, going forward with the podcast, it's going to be kind of hard for me to do it. I'm going to do it as much as I possibly can, especially for the first month. It's going to be really hard. And between the family, between my job, it's going to be very busy. So I will try to balance it as much as I can, but sorry guys, family, you guys got to come first. So I love y'all as much as I do, but still, Amanda's got to come first. Sorry guys.
But you'll always have me and James.
Yeah, we're here for forever. Don't worry.
We never leave. We're not gonna have kids.
We're never leaving.
All right. Oh yeah, here we go. Ardell's like, Cooper needs to step up. Yeah,
Whoa,
there we go.
Cooper's coming in hot.
And Chris, you're gonna have to take over for hosting for a little while for some of these things.
I'm the best host. Everyone always tells me. That's what they say.
that is totally what they say.
Yeah.
100%. All right, guys. Once again, we really appreciate y'all. Appreciate what you guys do, listening to us. Never thought it would get this big as it has been. We love you guys. Go and use that promo code THPN. Chris is pointing to it in the top right corner if you're watching on YouTube. Once again, go and check out our I've forgotten everything now. My brain's fried.
Our store,
go to Sarcastic,
Christmas gifts.
Yeah. Yep. Go to sarcasticremarksshop.com. By the way, there's going to be a sale soon. We're going to do a promo code here soon. You'll get some percentage off. And look out for that.
All your bathroom essentials are at sarcasticremarksshop.com.
But no shower curtain, though.
Nope, shower curtains, bath caddies, bath mats, all of them.
And as always, go and check out the website, sarcasticremarksshop.com. Sarcasticremarks.com. Goodness, blog post, all that stuff. Okay, we got to end before I get any crazier. Along with Chris and James, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Love y'all, and we hope you guys have a good afternoon, morning, evening, whenever y'all are listening. We'll catch you guys later.